Good afternoon, good evening, good morning, everyone. Apologies for the quick delay. I had a little bit of a human error getting us going live there, but we are now live, and I want to thank you for joining us today in our continued celebration of International Women's Day and Women's History Month. My name is Leah McMillan. I'm the Chief Marketing Officer at Trend Micro, and I'll be the host for today's discussion. And it should be noted that I'm not just a business person. I am also a daughter, a wife, a sister, and most importantly, a mom to my beautiful twin boys who are actually now almost 21, and they are in university and beginning their own tech journey. Today, we want to celebrate and continue our celebration of International Women's Day by hearing from some amazing, dynamic, and accomplished women from Trend Micro. If you saw us last week, you will have seen that we interviewed women from across the Americas. Today, we're going to interview some amazing women from Asia, Middle East, and Africa. As a reminder, we are live streaming on LinkedIn, Twitter, and YouTube. So whatever platform you're using, please remember that you can enter your comments and we will try to address those as real time on the live stream today. And if you missed last week's talk, you can always visit the hashtag TrendTalksIWD and watch that. Maybe IWD should actually stand for International Women's Decade. We just need more than that one day a year. I see people are joining us from around the world. Thank you so much. I want you to join me today in imagining a gender equal world, a world free of bias, stereotype, discrimination, a world that's diverse and equitable and inclusive, a world where difference is celebrated. I am so grateful for all the strong and inspiring women that I've met throughout my years. There are incredible women who have changed the world, and I want to thank all of them. I really am so thankful for the women that are going to be joining us here today because they have such interesting stories and their own journeys to share. I would like to acknowledge that it is difficult to celebrate today without imagining what it's like for the women in Ukraine right now who are being forced to navigate their world through this war and chaos and unimaginable fear and loss. And we are hopeful that peace will return soon so that your lives may begin to heal. Now, before we meet our guest today, maybe I'll give you a quick sense about my own journey and what brought me here as a woman in tech. I actually started over 30 years ago at right out of business school, and I kind of landed in tech almost by accident. But I was so lucky. I landed at a company that was a small, at the time, a startup in graphics, consumer software, and it was so much fun. I got to travel the world and really learn the whole business of software. But it was so long ago that it was before the days of the internet. We didn't have a website. We shipped software on 5.25-inch diskettes. I used to carry this massive laptop, if you want to call it that, around to various trade shows and show off our software. It was very interesting days. I have to admit that, in those early days, my journey wasn't without challenges and biases that I had to overcome. But I'm really happy to say that I managed to, throughout it all, I worked hard. I raised my family. I maintained amazing friendships. I managed to stay healthy. And I had the good fortune to work for global companies throughout my career, travel the world, and meet incredible people everywhere. It is funny to think back on those early years. When I started, it was so different. But we've had so much innovation, so many new opportunities for women. I really feel like we have made a ton of progress. I don't think I could have imagined that today I'd be working at this, multi-billion-dollar cybersecurity company, one that is being run by a female CEO, Eva Chen, who is also one of the founders of the company. And she's an incredible role model for everyone at Trend Micro. So without further ado, let us meet our panelists for today, who, as I mentioned, are women from across Asia, Middle East, and Africa. Let me bring them to the stream. We have Noura.
Hello, Leah.
Sharda. Hiroko.
Hello.
Hello. Rose. And Sapna. We are filling the screen here with these incredible women. Thank you for joining us here today.
Thank you.
Excellent. So let's get started. I'd like to hear a little bit about who you are. Maybe Noura, you could give us a sense of who you are, what your role is, a little something about yourself.
Thank you, Leah. I'm Noura Hassan from Egypt. Now I'm sales director for Greece, Cyprus, and Malta. and I'm managing new region right now. I used to be managing director for North Africa. I have been with Trend Micro for more than 7 years, and in 2017, I was promoted to be the first female country manager all over the world in Trend Micro. So I have a chance actually to have a lot of promotion. Trend Micro started as account manager and then as country manager, and now I'm managing director for new area, even a matter of culture thing, a matter of business wise. So it's amazing journey so far. I'm also a mom for 8 years old little princess as well. I have a lot of interesting things, especially about myself. Especially, first number one thing is just taking challenge. I love to take a lot of challenge, a lot of opportunities, and risk taker as well.
Well, clearly, thank you, Noura, for joining us today. Sharda, how about you? I see you're tech director by your title.
Oh, yes. Hi, everyone. Shraddha Tikku. I lead the tech function for Trend Micro India and SAARC countries. I joined Trend Micro like 15 years back. In between, joined, just left and did something, but came back to what seems like home for me now. During my tenure at Trend Micro, I mothered two beautiful girls, and it's been fun working here. I do get surprises when a lot of people see my title. Oh yeah, okay, you lead the tech function, so I get the story started. So yeah,
love to see that. Welcome to the broadcast.
Thank you.
Sapna, how about you?
Hi, thanks, Shraddha, for passing the baton to me. So I currently am as the regional principal architect for BFSI for Southeast Asia. And interesting thing about me is that I'm a full-time mom, a full-time wife, and a full-time working professional. So none of these aspects ever leave me alone. And that's what I like the best, the hustle of our industry and the bustle of my life. Yeah. So, well, I'm a new trender, let me accept that. But the supporting this cause is not new for me. I've been in this industry for 17 years, and I was so moved by your story, Leah and Nora and Shraddha. I've been new here, but I've been listening about the great work you girls are doing. But for me, tech. This is what I belong. This is where I started. And I see that it allows a lot of potential for me to grow further as an individual, right? So, and in last decade or so, what has happened is that cybersecurity in particular has become such a diverse industry. People from various skills are accommodated and how, right? So imagine a cyber breach. Communication or a legal skill set is as important as an incident responder or a forensic expert. So it's an industry which is like accommodating everybody with diverse skill set and how. So this is where I belong to, tech.
I love that. I do find once people get into tech, it's really hard to get out because it's so exciting and dynamic. Rose, how about you? Welcome to the broadcast.
Hello, I'm Rose. I am a senior manager in technical support. I joined Trend Micro in Manila in 2008, and then I got assigned to Taiwan in 2015 to work with the product developers here directly, and then I got transferred here officially from then. So I've been with Trend Micro for 14 years, and this is my first job.
Wow.
Interesting thing about me, I learned how to ride a bicycle here in Taiwan in a bicycle park for kids at the age of 30.
That is wonderful.
It is
And
never
you'll never forget, because once you learn to ride a bike, you never forget. So.
Yes, now I can ride multiple days.
That's fantastic.
So to me, it's never too late to learn something new.
That's wonderful. And Hiroko,
Hi.
last but not least, welcome to the broadcast.
Yeah, thank you. I'm inviting me here. I'm Hiroko from Japan, and I'm an HR professional. And I've been in the HR profession is for more than 10 years. And then I worked for the global software company before, and then now it's a Trend Micro is my third company being as a HR. I'm so excited about very uniqueness of the Trend Micro as well. And I'm not so much interesting, but I'm the youngest among the strong 3 daughters.
I'm the actually weakest in the house, but no one believed me at the office because I look strong, but I'm the really weak one at my family. But I enjoy that working at the company, and then also that my husband is my great cheerleader. I talk about later, and then I am excited to be here. Thank you.
Wonderful, wonderful. Well, I can't help but, as I look at all of you, and you've all accomplished so many things already in your career, it makes me wonder where that strength comes from. And Hiroka, you mentioned youngest of three. Maybe we could just back up a second there, and I'd love to hear from you first, just what inspired you? Like, how do you think your family shaped your ability to become who you are?
Well, I'm not sure inspiring is a good word to how to explain, but my family and my husband are my cheerleaders, as I said before. But my family is that they are concerned me and being safe. So that's why I was very protected when I was lived with my family. But now I moved out, and then I become individual. I mean, I have to be standalone, and then but still, though, I feel the support from the family and my husband, and all they are very similar. They trust me and they believe in me,
Nice.
and then they always say, as long as you don't die, there's no failure. So I can do anything.
That's wonderful. That's freedom. Sapna, how about you? I'm curious to know what your parents and growing up in your house was like. How did that inspire you to get where you are?
Well, I was born in a family of technocrats. So I think I mentioned in one of the internal conversations. So mathematics, Olympiads, Pythagoras theorems, this is all that we discussed. And I owe this to my upbringing, my family, my community, which paid a lot of focus on the fact that women should get equal opportunities as men. Growing up, there was no bias. Growing up, there was no differentiation, which happens typically in this part of the world. And I grew up like any other man would grow, and that I would strongly say that lays the foundation of when I think as an individual, not my gender. That this is how a woman can think as against a man. So it's always me as an individual, and I owe it all to my upbringing, my family, and overall my community, which strongly believes that women and men should get equal opportunities in every aspects of life. So thankfully, no bias there while I was growing up. Yeah.
That sounds wonderful, and I can imagine those dinner conversations. My kids still tease me today that they got into math because I used to tell them bedtime stories, and I would make them do math problems to help the troll get across the bridge.
Oh my God!
That kind of thing. So, it really is. It really can be something that you plant the seeds very early on. Noura, I'm curious about your background. Was it the same for you?
It's almost the same, but frankly speaking, I was number 4 in my family who is an engineer actually. So I received a bit challenge from the parent because they need to be a doctor or teacher. Maybe this is the most important thing for female. Something like 20 years back, it was not recommended to be engineer and a female, especially. I was dreaming just to be computer or information or network engineer. This is my dream actually. But once they see that I am really passionate to be engineer and communication engineer, I guess they're starting to support me big time. It was not for them, by the way. Especially, I was working in cybersecurity in early beginning in Egypt, and no one even males engineer don't like to work in cybersecurity. Everyone like to do software job or network job, but when to come to cybersecurity or security in general, no one like to take it. But definitely, till the moment, I'm taking the full support from my family and helping me even to raise my family, my kids, and all of this stuff. But I guess the number one supporter for any person, whatever you are, male or female, is his passion or her passion. If we really have such passion, this is the number one actually motivator that will let us that would let us actually more independent. The number one thing I remember about my family, actually, there is me to be a totally independent person. When I was very young, I can take care of my lesson. I can take care of everything related to my life. So both the actually, but when I want to engineering study, it was not an easy decision for them. But once they feel that she really loves this, they totally supported it. So family is number one thing actually for any one life, whatever you are, female or male, it's number one thing.
That is wonderful. I mean, it's amazing how influential that upbringing is. And Sharda, do you have similar experience as well?
Well, yes. I mean, my whole childhood environment and a supportive family, it has been an immense source of inspiration for me. The whole focus on education, the whole focus, the environment is very much, okay, so what is it that you're going to do in your career? What is it that you're planning for, whether it is going to an engineering college or going to a degree or an MBBS or an MD degree. So, I have been deeply inspired by an overall culture of professional experience. And I would like to mention here my mother in particular has been my role model. When it comes to balancing family and professional responsibilities, right? She would work. I mean, I don't think using a working woman is an appropriate term. Every woman works, but she would work outside of the house. Also, she would go to office, and for me, she was my role model, and I could see it was not easy for her either, right? And I can say that if she could juggle and balance and do so much, take so much tantrums from all of us kids, so I could do that also. I mean, it was never an option that I would not work. That thought never even crossed my mind. So, and like Sapna mentioned, the community support or the whole environment which thrives you to grow, the whole environment which encourages you to move ahead, really help. Like in this part of the India, and still, there are a lot of women who get married and who they quit working, whatever. I mean, they feel their primary responsibility is to manage the household. With all due respect, of course, that also is one part of the job. But having said that, since growing up, that's how I have seen, and thankfully now also have a supportive family that just naturally, fell in line for me. So yeah, my role model or my inspiration was definitely my mother. I would love to see her independent, financially independent, headstrong, making independent decisions. I wish I was half as good as she was, but whatever.
I'm sure she's incredibly proud, and that's the thing, right? It's wonderful to pass on those things to your children. Rose, how about you? Any cultural differences growing up in the Philippines? Was that same sort of thing?
Yeah, I don't have that as inspiring story as they have, but in my country, we don't study what we love. We study what could give us a job. So that's probably relatable to many. And I actually wanted to take agriculture engineering because I believe in my country is an agriculture country. But when I discussed it with my father, and my father was a farmer, and he said that them living in a farm, try their best to move to the city. And now you're in the city, you want to go back to the farm. And that's the longest speech that I had from my father.
Wow.
Okay, so I talked to my mom. I can't take that. I need to change my course that I would enroll in. And so I just looked for whatever course that I could take. And the other factor was I was a scholar. I passed the Department of Science and Technology in my country scholarship. So I can only select tech or like engineering, applied science, applied math courses. And yeah, I took up computer engineering.
Amazing. What a difference from agricultural to computer
I
engineering.
mean, totally opposite side of the world. So maybe the funny thing is when I graduated and I joined Trend Micro, because engineering in the Philippines is a 5-year course. And then, of course, for us, our dream job is to be in the hardware companies like Dell, IBM, or Fujitsu. And then I entered Trend Micro. My mom, one day, out of the blue, just said, "Why did you have to take a 5-year course if you're going to end up in a software development company?" Really.
That's wonderful. That's wonderful. Now, once, I mean, it's amazing, right? So the parents clearly shape how we get to, our first job, and once we land. Now I'd like to hear a little bit, and maybe someone could offer this up. Who inspired you, or did you have a really great mentor or role model, male or female, when you first started, that kind of kept you going and gave you the confidence to move on in your career?
I would like to start with that.
Sure.
So when I joined Trend Micro, I had an opportunity to advance my career a little bit faster. I got promoted twice in 3 years when I first joined Trend. So at 24, I'm already a level 3 technical support. In the Philippines, we have shorter education. We start university at 16, and it depends on your school system. You can finish your degree at 19. I didn't graduate at 19. Remember, I have a 5-year course. So like I said, at 24, I'm already level 3 technical support. It was nice, but it was also intimidating because 24 is not yet considered an adult. So you have this feeling that you're not supposed to participate in adult discussion. When you're going to be an adult, that actually still depends on your parents. You can be 30, you can be 40, but you will not be treated as an adult. And there were moments, there were times that I'm in a room full of directors, and I would just feel that I want to disappear.
Wow.
But seeing female leaders, technical project managers at that age, really, how do you say, broke the barrier for me. That you can go as far as just seeing Eva as a CEO. Of course, I don't plan to, become a CEO, but it tells you that you could go as far as CEO. So it sets the tone for you, for me, that I can go anywhere. But the first thing that I needed to break was my age bias towards myself. And my managers really helped me a lot break out of that shell, whatever that was. I had a lot of coaching sessions with them. And when my manager left, one of them left the company, I felt really, really worried. Like, how do I do this without, the coaching sessions with them? But a part of me was also saying that she has prepared me well. So what's the point of all those coaching sessions if I will regress? So I think that was a point of transformation for me.
That's wonderful. That's wonderful. It is amazing, right? If you do the work and you're prepared, you can handle anything. It's incredible. Someone else want to share a mentor story?
For me, I like to share my story with cybersecurity because I used to love network part. Once I graduated from school, from my engineering school, actually, I starting to just work as network engineer. So I love everything related to network and also all of network protocol, routing and switching. And suddenly, by chance, I found one single book for Sean Harris. She was a legend for me, actually. She was #1 person who inspired me to work in cybersecurity. Sean Harris. And then when I had a chance to work in Trend Micro, I found very great female leader as well. One of them, by the way, Leah. Okay, when I saw you in one of our big events, you were very positive. You are a role model for a lot of ladies working in Trend Micro, or even from the community themselves. And one lady I like to name her name here. It's called Emmy Ma.
Yes.
I saw her in Egypt office in 2016. She's from Taiwan and she came to live in Egypt. I was just wondering, she's very senior lady in the company. Why she came all of this lesson to stay in Egypt office and train a new generation and align with us to take them to the business line. It was very inspired role model also for me in Trend Micro. What I like to highlight here is actually inspiration, especially in cybersecurity or even in technology, mainly the most inspired one, it was about female, how female actually can empower another female. Okay, because we understand each other. We have the same mindset. Maybe I have a challenge, and I'm quite sure everyone here have a different challenge, maybe related to culture, related to technology, related to a lot of things. So to see female leader actually inspire another female leader or any female actually to go to the next level in her career journey, it was very touching. One of them I saw it was Amy, especially when she was trying to inspire a lot of generation, not only female generation, but also males as well in my group. It was a great chance actually to meet some thought leader in Trend Micro like Eva Chen. He's the CEO as well. So inspiration is a very important thing is when you come, frankly speaking, to work in technology, especially in cybersecurity, whatever you are female or male. But this is the big names I met in my career life. Sean Harris, for example, Emma, Leah, Macmillan, and a lot of female leaders as well in Trend Micro.
Well, I'm honored to be part of your list, Nora. You know, equally, you inspire me, and the things that you've been able to accomplish. It's amazing. All of you are amazing. Hiroko, how about you? Have you met a mentor along the way that really inspired you?
For me, it's not mentor, but I met the book, I should say. So, What Color is Your Parachute? That book I read, and that is a kind of eye-opening. You know, I actually my husband to be that moment. I moved to Tokyo from Kyoto, the west part of Japan, to Tokyo. I have no acquaintance or networks there, but I have to find a job, and I'm desperate. I couldn't find a job, and my husband gave me the book. Hey, why don't you read this book? And as I read through, okay, I am not serious enough because to find a job, I should do the job, find a job like I do, job 9 to 5. And then I start doing it next day, and I couldn't find a job within a month. So that is the kind of way of thinking, my way of thinking changed. So I think something is not possible, but I was not serious enough to break that wall or climb up the wall. So that book is very inspiring for me.
Yeah, actually, books, podcasts. I mean, this might be an interesting thing to share with people. I can tell you, I'm a big Brene Brown fan. I listen to her podcast all the time. I've read a number of her books. I just find she speaks to me in a way that really resonates. Both her Dare to Lead series and her book, which is very business oriented, or something like Unlocking Us, which really gets more at who you are as an essence. Do you have books, podcasts that you could recommend to other women out there that inspire you or that make you think differently? Sapna, how about you?
I would say throughout my life, books have been big inspiration. So when I graduated, my father gifted me a book from Stephen Hawkins. And we all know that Stephen Hawkins was a very special person. He, in spite of having one of the most deadliest syndrome, ALS, he continued to do what he could do. And it's very unfortunate that just before black holes were proved of their existence, he lost this world. What a great loss to the world. But I now understand why was that done. My father never told me about that. Hey, this is a person who cannot stand, cannot speak, has only a small instrument, and he can type at the rate of 12 words per minute, which is even slower than a dumbest child. I mean, pardon me for saying that, but we all know what he did. But the undertone for me to understand was that you'll have challenges, you'll have all kind of impediments in life. It's upon you to see what you want to see. If you are focused on your goals, and you know that you might have ups and downs, but stay focused, stay resilient, and it's going to take you. So it's one book, and I've read all the 3 books that he has co-authored in his life.
Wonderful.
And the latest one, which actually I really relate to, is one from the land of rising sun, that is Japan. Ikigai, finding your ikigai. It's a book that enough and enough can't be said about it. I think the whole concept is to find out, do and invest your time in what you're passionate about. And don't forget the part that anything which gives you economic benefit, it's just not only pursuing your passion. So finding your ikigai is something that I would recommend to everyone. You might be from tech field, from any other thing. It's something that will help you find out the purpose, why you're doing what you're doing. Yeah.
Agreed.
Other recommendations from you?
I have one new book. I just read it right now. Actually, it's for the journey of one female leader. Actually, in technology, she's a young female leader, but she changed her life totally from the east to west part. It's called Girly Decoded. Girly Decoded, for Egyptian American writer called Rana Al-Kalyoubi. She actually explained all of her journey. She's starting to be just a normal Egyptian wife, and she was in her comfort zone, and suddenly she decided to complete the study and traveling to US to study her PhD and all of these things. And one of her challenge actually her family. Okay. But now, currently, she is one of the thought leader as well. She is starting her startup, and she sold even her startup and thinking about building another startup in technology and artificial intelligence. Frankly speaking, I didn't expect to see all of this stuff and facts and all of this actually motivations and to see a role model that totally changed everything from the cultural perspective, from the study perspective, even from family aspect as well, and be only herself. She's one of the businesswomen, and she has her own companies, and some big companies acquired her companies, and she's starting to meet new people outside US even, and do a lot of cooperation with something else, and she taking care of her kids as well. So definitely I can recommend it, especially if we're talking about empowering women in technology. Very touching one.
I love that. I love, inspiration can come from so many places. We've talked about family, we've talked about mentors at work, books, podcasts. These are incredible things. I know there may be some young women out there listening, or maybe some parents who have young women they're trying to encourage into tech. What advice would you give to young women who are just starting their career?
If I have to say, I'll just say it, and then I'll narrate an incident, and that was also an incidentally not an inspiration, but a moment that kind of told me that I have to pursue this career. So I started my job, and it was in an IT field, not a cybersecurity, right? You start in an IT, and there was a virus scare, okay, in that company, and then of course we all hustled together. Everyone was together. We made SOP, detailed plan, and whatnot. Then it was 6 p.m., 7 p.m., and then there was the time to execute the plan. And they said, "Hey, who all are ready to stay back, because we might have to pull out a nighter." That was a time that, unfortunately, a lot of my girls, who were in the team, they said that, what, and I was like, this is a time, maybe I should stay back, because you've done so much of process throughout the day, you've created something. This is the time to deliver. So that's the moment that clicks. I don't know, somehow it's like a deja vu, but then that's something that kind of clicks you. Let me stay back and deliver it, and then it's okay if there are all men around and there is no woman around. So I did that, and from that moment onwards, that thought never clicked in my mind that it is a male dominated field, or I'll be working with the teams where there'll be no women, and it may be intimidating. I think that one incident kind of inspired me to push my self through this career, this whole this industry which is male dominated still. And if I have to give a career advice to young women, I'll just say that don't compromise on the merit. Merit speaks for itself, right? Unfortunately, because you are a woman, there will be certain biases. I mean, as much as we would like to portray a happy picture, but unintentionally or intentionally, there will be certain biases. So you might have to work twice as harder just to ensure that you don't even give an iota of a opportunity for anyone to pick up on that thing. So be master on your subject. Just so that's that. While there can be multiple tips, but if I have to give one tip, that would be that be master of your subject and let the merit speak for itself, right? And don't expect people to smoothen edges for you.
Right.
Such is life. Don't expect that. While of course there will be people who will hold your hand and all of that, but then the roads won't change. You might get helping hand here and there. So don't expect because you're a woman then you will get a easier way through. So because we are asking for equality, so let's also deal with the difficult times in an equal way. So maybe just these couple of tips.
That's great advice. Great advice. Anyone else want to offer some advice to young women? Hiroko, I think you're on mute. Yeah.
Maybe I'm a bit coffee because I'm the sales part of the game.
Yeah.
The first thing actually I can advise, or even I can share, don't accept the prototype that people actually will define you. Okay. When I started working in cybersecurity, I was almost #1 person in Egypt or lady in Egypt actually working in cybersecurity. So generally, when I was on table, no one will talk to me. Okay. No one will ask a single question. Okay. Ladies,
if I can narrate an incident, what happened once with me was that I was speaking to a gentleman. The gentleman was not making an eye contact with me.
Okay.
Yeah, this has happened. He would look at the table and then talk. Yeah.
About breaking the other person prototype, because I am not responsible about your prototype, but this is my job and I love it and I excel my job actually. So when I started, I was very, very young actually, and I used to go to a meeting and I was the only lady and the younger person on the table. But when you come to cybersecurity, everyone looked to me to answer, okay? So I enjoyed actually breaking all of these mindsets. In this time, I was at the technical part of the game. But when I shifted even to sales games, and I started to be very senior and country manager also, in some big account, people don't accept to see the manager or the country manager to be a lady. So everyone looking to my account manager, for example, to ask him. But he looking to me to reply. And then I can break also the prototype. I was in an internal talk with Rick Frickson. He told me, okay, I understand this challenge because he also liked to break the prototype. Okay, somehow I'm using myself. I am a lady, so no one will care about what I will say. But by the end, I'm the station maker. I am the owner for this project. So whatever I like to do, actually, I'm using my position. I'm the country manager. I am even the lady also. So no one expects my reply to be like this. But when you show how professional you are, how you are caring about achieving and make everything happen, definitely everyone will accept and support you, definitely. I met this many, many times in many scenarios and in many regions. Currently, I'm from Middle East and controlling the business or taking care of the business in Greece, Cyprus, and Malta, which is new culture, total culture. So this is their prototype, not because I am female, but because also I'm from Middle East and I work in Europe. So to break the prototype, it's #1 priority for any lady or any father actually who's caring about his daughter. No, she will not work in technology or cybersecurity or any other field because this is dominated by males, for example. I would say no, just let her follow her heart, her passion. And #1 advice for any female working in technology or any, just ask. You cannot get anything without ask. Show up. Even once you get your seat on table, show up. What I recognize, especially with female community, most of them actually we have very passive conversation. No one show up. No one explain. Once you are at table, please explain. Show up. Make network. Listen to your heart. Listen to your network around. Utilize the position you are in actually to empower another lady. If you are working with female group, empower them. Okay, if you are leader, empower the team member as well, especially with female. Give something back to community.
Yeah, there's a lot of advice in there, Nora. If I heard, but certainly, what you're talking about takes courage. You're talking about showing up, You know, that takes some courage sometimes for people to be at that table and to use their voice. And clearly what Sharda was saying is, you know, if you're really good at what you do, you know what you're doing and you work hard and you show up with courage, there's amazing things that can happen there. And then, Noura, as you talked about, you know, later on, you'll be able to empower other women. You'll be able to give back to the community. It takes that courage to get there in the first place. I think, Hiroko, you were going to mention something as well.
Oh, yes. I'm a more moderate, the advice to the young ladies. I said, no rush, relax. Your career just started. And then if you don't, listen to this very accomplished woman today, if someone here listening to this, maybe you're nervous and, how can it be like that? And when I can start that kind of career? It's no worry. Life is quite long. And you have to explore first what you can do and what you're passionate about. That actually I found that HR is my real profession at 30 years old. It's quite late. Before that, I didn't do any HR job. I mean, accidentally, I could get the opportunity to be in HR, and I found myself, oh my God, why I didn't try that before? But it's too late. It's 10 years past already. But I still enjoying it, and then I never think that is too late. So if you can find something you're passionate about now, please go for it. But at the same time, if you don't find any yet, don't worry, you will find it. But to accept that open-minded and try hard, do your job, what you have, 100% every day. Just today, complete it today, and the next day today. And you will find, if you do the best, your job, what you're doing, the opportunity come to you.
I love that. I always feel that there's no experience that's wasted. Even if you do a job for a year that wasn't your favorite, you find out what you don't love, right? And nothing is a waste of time. It is all about building towards your ultimate passion and your ultimate job that you love. Sapna, Rose, did you want to add anything on this part of the topic?
I was actually just gone down into Hiroshi. Actually, sounded like a guru was giving a but yeah, I agree to a lot of things which she said. And to add to what she said, I think charity begins at home. We as women, and especially those who want to start off in tech, have to start off that thought process that STEM is not for men alone. STEM is something that we can do. And code for girls, code for women is real. We know that next decade is going to be more tech focused. And this is the time where we need to cleanse our brains from that bias that this is a field where I'm not particularly going to be good at. Maths, physics, science, these are not like Latin and Greek for those who don't understand that language. Accept the fact that we can be equally good at it. And the second beautiful thing that Hiroshi said is there's no hurry. Unfortunately, the younger generation goes for quick bucks. They want quick results. It doesn't happen. Even a good pizza, a wood, baked pizza, it takes its time. So give yourself time, explore. Career has to be not a defining. There's no end goal for career. It has to be a boutique, right? Experience and be resilient. Stay put. You will have challenges. Just bounce back, come back to it, keep your mindset open that you can do everything that a man can do, and just motivate yourself, compete with your own self. The competition is not outside. Yeah.
Just
That's
just
true.
one
Yeah.
just one correction. We can do better than what Matt.
I agree.
What I want to talk about is the other side of the society. I know we've been talking about our lives in the corporate world, but there's also part of being a woman that the society expects us to do when we step out, which is at some age. Let me say, in my country, at 24, you're kind of adult already enough to start a family. So it is a really, really confusing time for, I think, a lot of women that at that age you start realizing that you realize that you're starting with your career. All these great advices, that's nice. But then when you go to parties, reunions, and gatherings, you get asked, when are you going to have family? When are you going to have kids? Yeah, there's that pressure to start a family now while you're young, which I will never understand, and I never understood. Um, because at the back of my head, again, I not. This is just a question, okay, a personal question, is whether becoming a mom, becoming a wife, is my only option as a woman.
Right.
Is that my ultimate goal?
Right. Well, that's a very tough, and here we are talking about all people incredibly successful in their careers, and many are moms as well. And it actually raises a good point. We often hear women can women have it all? And I don't think we ask the same thing of men. It's just expected that they can. What do we think about that?
If I'll say something, since Rose touched this topic, so post giving birth to my two kids, two girls, and more for my elder daughter, I used to feel extremely guilty for the time I would spend away from her. I mean, I think all of us have gone through this. And I used to be in a hurry to go back home, and thereby maybe compromising and cutting down on some professional commitments. For example, I would not travel unless it was extremely, extremely important, right? So I don't know how do I put it. While of course you want to have it all, and maybe you can, but with this motherly emotion, sometimes I don't know, it becomes difficult to balance, or it is an emotion that you cannot just let go of. As much as in your head you would want to say that, hey, it's okay, I'm able to balance this. I'm handling it very well. Yeah, I'll spend more quality time with them tomorrow over the weekend. But somehow I think it's definitely in one's mind. That thought is something is a nagging thought. I'm sure all moms, at least I have improved over a period of time, I should say, but it's not that the thought completely goes off my mind. I was sharing some time back to, when my first daughter was born, I used to, just talk about her in office. And I then felt that, maybe I'm talking too much about her. I used to show her pictures. Hey, see, she started walking, she started doing whatnot. So that I think that motherly emotion it's a very strong sentiment, which can kind of overrule a lot of things. So while we try to balance, but I think this whole mother element, which I think we are blessed to have that thing, uh, is something which I think it's not a real balance. I mean, it's always a little bit of imbalance. That's what I would say.
Yeah, I mean, my personal opinion is that people talk about work-life balance, but then that implies that work is separate from life. And
Yeah.
it's all life, right? You have your life includes work. It includes your children, possibly, or your partner, your friends, your health. Balance is about balancing all of those things and finding the right place. I love that you showed pictures of your child at work. That I personally feel that vulnerability and sharing our lives and sharing who we are as people makes us better colleagues, makes us better leaders, builds trust with people. It's who we are as people. Anyone have any other views on that?
What is
No, I completely agree with Leah and Shraddha, both of you in different ways. I strongly believe that our vulnerabilities, it's upon us. How do we cash on them, right? We can either exploit them or we can patch them at the right time and just circumvent the adversary. Yeah, but to put it in a perspective, I think once I became a mother of a daughter, I took it upon me that it's a different thing to pass on advices to other women around. But I wanted to be her role model, not by telling her what you need to do, but showing up. Like today, I was just telling you that she tested positive, and I had committed to it. She's just lying here listening to my entire conversation, because it's the way it is going to rub on her. Mommy is doing what she needs to do. It's Your action speaks louder for you, and that's what it is. And I believe that we're never going to find that balance in the way how other people want us to take the notion of balance, right? You can spend family time. The balance word itself is very how the world wants us to look at balance. It's
Right.
really about what we feel happy at doing. Sometimes being with our child is what makes her happy. Sometimes giving presentations is what makes her happy. It's just finding the right spot where we want to be at that point in time, right? So I don't think so there's going to be any right or wrong answer to it. It's all about our mental state, where and how we want to invest our time. Yeah.
I
And
love
sometimes we just want me time. We don't want kids. We don't want office. We don't want household.
absolutely.
Because this is part of your self-care, because there is no shortcut to self-care, or there is secret way for your self-care. You should define what makes you happy. And one of the advices, actually, I got it before, two advices. One of them, it's not, no matter how you stay with your kids, your family, even with your network, but it's really matter how you have a quality time with them. And I starting to define this actually with my relation with my daughter. I starting to feel that, okay, some days I was totally free and I do nothing with her. And then some days I have only 1 hour and I really enjoying being with her, and I have a very good quality time with my daughter, for example. And second point, it's how to learn to say yes and say no for a lot of business tasks and even life tasks, because I feel that especially in the beginning in cybersecurity and to build your family, you will do double effort, just because we're looking for perfection, to be the perfect wife, the perfect mother, the perfect engineer. So we should say yes, and should we say no in the right time, and see if this decision actually will align with our objective, with our dream or not. So we should do some sort of priority. So we will have some peace of mind to focus on things that really priority number one with you. I'm totally agree that family should be priority number one, but we should align with the business. Business and my career, for example, also has a big priority in my life as well. So how to say yes, how to know in some decision, it's very, very important.
I think that's the key, right? How do we do these things that we love and not feel guilty about the things that we're prioritizing? And it's perhaps one of our greatest challenges. I see that we're almost at the end of the hour. So I think, it's been a wonderful conversation. We could talk for another few hours, I think, about these topics. I wanted to get into leadership and how we bring our female qualities into leadership, which I strongly believe, but we'll have to save that for another time. I would like to have us all celebrate our International Women's Day.
Break the bias.
Break the bias.
Break the bias.
Exactly. Let's break the bias. Thank you so much, everyone. It's been a wonderful conversation, and I really appreciate you all being part of the conversation today.
I enjoyed a lot. Thank you for everyone.
Thank you.
Great story. Very inspiring. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.